Thank you, President Constantinescu, for the invitation, and I wish you many happy returns to your birthday. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm quite pleased to say some words about the Albanian transition period, but also some ideas about the transition in other countries. As we know, Yalta has divided Europe in two political ideological blocs, but this division during the Cold War was also economic one. In eastern part, our Soviet bloc was established the state socialism. Its main characteristics were a party state, political hierarchy in economic decisions, and central planning, nationalization of all private assets, establishment of kolkhozy, collective farms or agrarian cooperatives, and sovkhozy, state farms, as we have had in Albania, a socialized farm sector, massive industrialization, concentration of different structures in industry, division of labor, and specialization of production, etc. All of these characteristics, after the fall of Berlin Wall in Albania, were set under a severe process of radical economic, political transformation. And this process of transformation in Albania was an unprecedented phenomenon in its history, but it entailed different types of transition, such as political institution transition, as a transition from a communist one-party regime to a democratic system. This process, of course, was a relatively slow one and with some zigzags and mistakes. The other transition was social economic transition as a passage from central planned socialist economy to a free market system. This transformation was proving more complicated than the political one. At the beginning it was trying this kind of shock therapy or tabula rasa way, and shortly after it was substituted by the gradual incremental transition. During the first phase, the main assumption, which during the second phase were more focused, have been liberalization, stabilization, and privatization. And of course, during that time, serious economic changes have taken place parallel to different difficulties in this transition. The other transition was identity transition as a change in national commitment, a kind of difficulty which was linked to this kind of transition from being a citizen of one state to another one. But this was not the case in Albania. In the Albanian case, the identity transition was a simple transition from a communist, so-called communist party identity to the national or European one. And the last one, diplomatic and international policy transition, and the most part of this transition was linked to the integration into Western-dominated international system. Particularly, the main focus in Albania was the accession to NATO, integration in different structures as International Monetary Fund, World Bank, World Trade Organization, etc. And the last one was our goal was accession to the European Union, and we hope to be there quite soon. But this 25 years ago, where we have had this collapse of communism, has generated at that time a massive support and a lot of enthusiasm in all socialist countries. This ferment produced fresh political stars in the new parties. Very promised have been the basis of these new parties, the legal basis. Now, after 25 years, instead of embodying the serious triumph of democratic parameters and free market economy, the situation is evolving wrongly, as also Mr. Berisha has mentioned. Indeed, we are now in front of more complicated puzzle. The political system in some of these countries, former socialist countries, Albania included, became and remain as hybrid one, a kind of frozen democracy. Particularly during the economic financial crisis, some of Western values are coming there to question. Instead of further strengthening the democratic constitution, it is considered as an easy way to bring into political play so-called strong individuals, quite inclined and fond of power accumulation. And I am some concern about this accumulation also in Albanian life today. Based on their individual political culture, tradition, and economic problems, a direct consequence is the political desire through a populist scheme to feed the nationalist feelings, to centralize the government while supporting and raising a crop of oligarchs, even admiring the Putinist style of governing, as Joschka Fischer, the former foreign minister of Germany, has mentioned. As this is a clear step back and against people's democratic aspiration. For example, in Hungary, the government has faced these last days a large-scale public protest against the plan to impose a tax on internet use, following, in fact, the Erdogan tentative. This reversal of liberal democracy to regimes which are not liberal ones, following Russia, Turkey, etc., is becoming serious because many leaders of these countries, Central and Eastern European countries, Albania included, while externally they are smiling to European leaders, internally they are rather arrogant and undemocratic, silencing the opposition, media and civil society groups, or pretending to get rid of the attitude cultivated in the former system or in the former governance. In reality, their main objectives is to assemble systematically power through packing courts and the General Prosecutor's Office with militants and loyalists, amending the Constitution, approving problematic laws for increasing their entire domination. And this, I believe, is very bad for the young and fragile democracy and, well, who have to fight against. Aware of that, being quite concerned, I'd like to end my short remarks with a word of Fuci before execution by the Nazi. Mention, I will read it in German. Menschen, ich hatte euch lieb, seid wachsam. Mankind, I love you. Be vigilant. And we have to be vigilant also in these new democratic countries. Thank you for your attention.